Hello and welcome. My name is Shandre Mangera, and I'm so excited to announce this new journey, a journey that has a lot to do with serving you. I like to call it brave, and brave is all about focusing on the holistic view of a woman. I'll be focusing on encouraging, inspiring, and hopefully empowering you to live out your best life by becoming your best self. So today, we're going to be talking about one of the fundamental or foundational truths before anything can be discussed, and that is getting to know who you are. That's right, getting to know who you are. This is based on no science, but on utter belief. And I believe that who you are has a lot to do with whose you are. That's right, who you belong to. Now, some will have you believe that we are self made, and perhaps in some ways we are. But ultimately, before anything can be discovered or before anything can be known, it is the responsibility of the Creator to define its purpose, right? And although we go on these journeys of self discovery, trying to find out who we are, or trying to get to know ourselves, perhaps we can get to know ourselves just by the way we respond to life. But there's a fine line in getting to know ourselves and actually knowing who we are, right? Getting to know yourself is slightly different to knowing who you are. And what I mean by that is that getting to know yourself is by the way you get to experience life and how you choose to respond to life. How we choose to respond to life has a lot to do with the way we've been programmed to think, the way we believe, and the way we speak. That will allow you to know where you are in life and locate yourself. And locating yourself is pivotal to knowing where you are right now at this stage, this moment in life. And so, location is important just to determine where you're heading, right? Or tracking where you are in order to define or to know where you want to go. But that has nothing to do with who you truly are. And so many of us get the two confused because we think that our personality or our characteristics define or make up who we are. When I believe that it is your Creator's responsibility to truly define and describe the life that He had prepared for yourself. And in discovering the truth of who you are, ultimately changes everything. Because once you set your life on a course of discovering who you are by seeking out the truth of who He created you to be, your priorities then change. Your vision of yourself begins to expand. And ultimately, your life, the standard of your life, is based now on passion and purpose, or you begin to live your life on a higher standard. And that is so important because so many of us have chosen to live life in such a way where we just go with the flow, or where life gets to determine how we get to live out our days. And the reality is that we never get to live out our true purpose. But what if just for one moment you could stop and consider, is am I on the right course? The course that has been set out for me even before I came into this earth. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, what on earth am I here for? Has that question ever tugged on you or bothered you? Have you suppressed it, or have you found a way to ignore it? I think that it's time for us to elevate the things that are important. I think that it's time for us to start considering these questions that truly will not only define who we are, but that will ultimately change the trajectory of our lives. I know that it is not God's will for us just to live life in mediocrity. I know that it is not God's will for us just to wake up without purpose or without passion. I know that it's not God's will for us just to go through life seamless, feeling like we're just wandering. Because when He had you in mind, He had a purpose, He had a plan. And ultimately, this discovering who we are is not going to come by what the world serves, or by what the world defines, or what the world throws at us. Discovering who you are is ultimately something that the Master Himself has handwritten for your life. Something so unique, something individual to your life, a blueprint only for your life. And to me, that's important, because we only have one life to live. So many of us are being robbed of the opportunity to live out our best life. And that's because we've been exposed to so many things that are programming us in ways that change who we are screaming, our true self is screaming out to be. But if you had to just stop and focus and ask yourself and take some time to really ponder on what's important, what it energizes you, what sets your life on fire, you could ultimately change the course of your life. With all of that being said, I think, and I know, because this comes from personal experience, that a lot about who you are, like I said, has a lot to do with who you are. And that in itself is a journey that you would have to walk with your Creator Himself. And I know that for a long time, I just went through life wondering and doing things that I was programmed to believe was the right thing to do. But the more I went on that journey, the more I became angry and frustrated and depressed. And I felt like there was just more. There just had to be more to life than this. And so I began to question and I began to search. And the more I began to build a relationship with my Creator, the more I began to grow closer with Him, the more I got to discover who I was. Because ultimately, knowing who He is exactly the blueprint in finding and discovering who you are. So today, before we even get to focus on the other aspects of who we are as women, we need to focus on our inner self, our true self. And that has a lot to do with finding who you are, finding out who you are, finding out what is the blueprint for your life. And that is only in the hands of your Creator. So I'd like to encourage you to just stop. Put a hold on your life. The world is not going to break without you. The world is not going to crumble because you decided to take a break and discover what's really important, or discover and find out what's more meaningful than just going through this life, right? And so I'd like to encourage you to take some time out and question life, because these are the questions that really matter. These are the things that if we don't wake up now and ask ourselves, one day when we're old and gray, it might be too late for you to ask that question. And if you don't ask those questions today, tomorrow is not promised to no man. Today is all you've got. It's a gift that we have to wake up every day to. And when you wake up, it's a gift given to you so that you can live your life intentional, on purpose, with passion, set alight. Your life is ultimately meant to give God glory. And if you don't feel that you are on a cause where you are passionate about what you're doing, then I encourage you to stop. Take a break. Have a look at where you are. Locate yourself. And start to invest in you. Because ultimately, you are the best investment you could ever make. It doesn't matter how much money you pour into yourself. you will ultimately become the best product that you could ever purchase or ever possess. And so investing in yourself is really very, very important. And that is one thing that I would like to highlight today and help you. And if anything, if you take anything away from this, remember to invest in yourself and to prioritize yourself. You are so important. We have just so many distractions in this life that focusing on self has become something we have to be intentional about. And if we don't become intentional about who we are, we're going to miss out on what's most important to ourselves. And we'll find ourselves unhappy, regretting, or miserable for that matter. And that is not what God had in mind for you. That is not the blueprint of your life. He created something marvelous, something unique, something He gifted only you with, that you can serve the world with. And that is so unique to anybody else. And so why be a copy of somebody else when you can be yourself? When you can live your life authentically in the way that you were meant to live. There is no one like you in this life. And your blueprint, your life, a life designed for you, is only something you can live out. And so today, I hope that in some way I get to remind you of what's really important, and that no one can live your life and no one can get to tell you or give you the permission to be you and to live out who you're meant to be. I'd like to encourage you today to live out your best self and be unapologetic about that, because you don't need to ask the world permission to be you. You just gotta ask the Creator's permission. And the lovely and most wonderful thing about that is that by you living today is all the permission and all the grace He's already given you to be you and to live out the best life that He has ordained for you. I do hope that you got to enjoy this moment with me and look forward to so many more videos that we're going to be doing together. Like I said, it's all about encouraging, it's all about uplifting, and empowering you to living out your best life by becoming your best self. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you enjoy it. And to so many more other videos and times like this that we'll be sharing together. Thank you.